The Lost Pines are the westernmost pocket of loblolly pines and are located in Bastrop, Texas, less than an hour from our capital in Austin. Famous for its beauty and uniqueness, this forest is 100 miles west of other loblolly forests. Despite this, pines have persisted in this area for over 18,000 years. However, this forest has undergone catastrophic change. The change began with 5 years of severe drought and culminated when strong north winds brought tinder-dry pines into contact with power lines. The fire that ensued was one of the most catastrophic in our nation's history and the most damaging fire the Lone Star State has ever seen. Hot enough to burn through the canopy and into the soil, in some places so hot that rocks shattered. The resulting firestorm converted a majority of the lost pines into so many standing dead corpses. The standing dead await their turn to topple when gravity, decomposition, and winds get the upper hand. We hold our breath and hope for the best when the wind gusts in this land of widowmakers and shattering giants, lest we become late victims of the fire. This once verdant and vertical forest is now blackened and quickly becoming horizontal. We are in the forest to study the response of mammals to conditions following the fire. Nothing is easy in the forest now. We climb through the forest now, over and under the corpses and amputated limbs of the ever-toppling pines. Everything has changed in the forest, including the mammals. We have exotic house mice where before there were none, and the overall abundance of small mammals is as high as I have witnessed in several decades of studies. Hawks, owls, coyotes, and snakes now feast on the abundance. New plants take hold and the forest takes on a new beauty, while many species show their resilience. Perhaps the biggest question following the drought and the fire was the fate of one of the most endangered amphibians in the U.S., if not the world, the Houston toad. There may have been as few as 300 in the wild before the 1-2 punch of the drought and fire. Frogs of all sorts survived the fire in abundance, but since the fire, barely a handful of Houston toads have been observed. We were shocked when Jesse and I rediscovered Houston toads calling in abundance for the first time since the drought and fire. We alerted park officials and they furthered our excitement by bringing in experts to collect egg strands for captive propagation. Our reward came from the opportunity to be the first to capture high-definition video of a species some refer to as the unicorn of the forest. While promising, the appearance of the toad does not ensure its future. The forest, critical habitat for the toad, changed while they were sequestered underground. The fire has affected the trajectory of the forest too. Once dominated by pines, now oaks resprout from their roots. This gives them a head start over the young pines that must grow from seeds. Ants consume young pines, and even falling limbs and bodies of their dead brethren crush young pines. But pines are coming back, and with each visit to the forest we become more optimistic that the lost pines are not lost. More questions than answers remain for the fate of the forest, but even more so for the toad. Managers plant pines by the millions and release toadlets from captive propagation in attempts to offset changes that have occurred. Only time will tell the fate of this unique toad and forest. However, with each trip, we become more optimistic that the lost